For a long time, if you wanted a well-rounded premium travel credit card, then the Amex Platinum was pretty much your only option in the UK. That is until Revolut came out with a product called Ultra, which is a debit card that is kind of in the same market as the Amex Platinum. However, a couple of years ago when the product first came out, it was missing quite a few things, at least in my opinion, in order to be able to compete with the Amex Platinum. But now I think Ultra has evolved enough that we can actually ask a question of what should I choose between the Amex Platinum and the Revolut Ultra if I'm in the market for a premium travel card? And that is the question that we are going to try and answer in today's video. Hi there, welcome to the channel. Here we talk about the UK world of credit cards, reward points and loyalty programs that can help you elevate your travel experiences and, for example, travel in first class and business class for less money or almost no money. Or if you're not interested in that, then just make some additional savings on your day-to-day spending. If that sounds interesting, consider checking out the channel later after you watch this video and maybe subscribing for future videos. So to compare the Amex Platinum and the Revolut Ultra, we'll talk about the travel perks, the free credits, and the reward points that the cards give you. And we'll also, of course, look at the annual fees that each card comes with, and we'll talk about whether or not it's actually worth paying them. In terms of travel benefits, both the Revolut Ultra and the Amex Platinum come with an unlimited Priority Pass membership, which means you can enter any Priority Pass airport lounge for any number of times for completely free. However, things start to differentiate when it comes to bringing guests. With Revolut Ultra, you'll have to pay £20 for any additional guests you want to bring into the lounge, whereas the Platinum card is going to give you one guest for free, and on top of that, you can also issue a supplementary card, a supplementary Platinum card that you can give to a family member, for example, and they also get lounge access in addition to one guest. So that way, with the Platinum card, you can get up to 4 people into the lounge for free, whereas with Revolut Ultra, it's just one person, and then each additional guest has to pay £20. And also on top of that, the Amex Platinum doesn't just give you access to Priority Pass lounges, it also works for the Amex Centurion lounges, which is Amex's own network of lounges, which to be fair are pretty cool. And you can also use the Amex Platinum to get into the Eurostar lounges in London, Paris and Brussels. So all in all, if you often travel with someone, then Amex is the clear winner, I think, in this category. However, if you're mostly a solo traveler, or even maybe you sometimes very occasionally need to bring in a guest, then Revolut Ultra may still make sense even with its £20 fee if the other benefits of the card align with your interests more. And we are obviously going to talk about the other benefits next. But for now, still speaking about the travel perks, both cards also come with comprehensive travel insurance, which covers the medical stuff, the flight inconvenience stuff like delayed flights, missed connections, lost luggage, and then also car hire, and you are covered in addition to any dependents traveling with you. And again, Amex Platinum gets a little bit more comprehensive here thanks to the free supplementary card, because as I said, if you issue the supplementary card, then the supplementary card holder gets all of the same insurance benefits along with their dependents. On the other hand though, the Amex Platinum insurance, in order to kick in, requires that you pay for your travel with an Amex card as long as that's possible. And this potentially means being charged a 3% foreign transaction fee for any costs that you are paying in another currency other than the British pound. For example, if you are booking a hotel overseas and then you pay for it at check-in, they're going to charge you in their local currency, and any Amex card that was issued in the UK is unfortunately going to charge you the infamous 3% fee because you're not paying in a British pound. In the meantime, Revolut Ultra has the same requirement. In order for the insurance to kick in, you need to pay for your travel using the Ultra card. However, the difference is Revolut does not charge you any foreign transaction fees, so that's potentially somewhere you can save money with Revolut as compared to the Amex Platinum. Finally, one more travel perk that the Amex Platinum has is the Fine Hotels and Resorts collection, which guarantee you 4 p.m. late checkout, free breakfast for 2 people, and $100 in hotel credits to spend on hotel services in a select collection of hotels. I personally use this a few times a year at least and find it incredibly useful. Also, on top of the FHR, you get mid-tier status in a few hotel chains like Radisson, Hilton, Marriott, and Melia, which is generally useful for things like non-guaranteed early check-in or late checkout, but with Hilton it also means that you get free breakfast for 2 guaranteed, and then there are also occasional room upgrades. Now, Revolut does not have an equivalent or similar benefits to the Amex hotel stuff, but it does have one more travel-centric perk that Amex Platinum doesn't, and that is 3 gigabytes of mobile data free every month that you can use abroad, and that sounds like something that could save you quite a lot of money on roaming charges. This does seem quite useful, and it's something that can save you money on roaming charges, and it's also less niche than the hotel benefits because everybody uses their phone abroad. Personally though, if I had to pick between Platinum and Ultra just based on the travel perks, then I would probably go for the Platinum card because of the FHR benefits and the more generous guest allowance for the airport lounges. However, you should not be judging these cards based on just one specific perk. Instead, we should look at all the benefits together, which is what we're going to be doing throughout this video, before drawing any conclusions. The next category of perks we're going to look at are the so-called credits. So with the Amex Platinum, you basically get £400 a year that you can spend at select restaurants, and this is broken down in the following way. Firstly, between January and June of each calendar year, you get £100 that you can spend at select UK restaurants, and then another £100 to spend at select international ones. And then from July to December, the same thing happens again. So in total, that adds up to £400 a year to spend on dining. Whether or not this specific perk is going to be useful for you depends mostly on you because, well, in my mind, there are two ways to look at the dining credits that come to the Amex Platinum. Either you already eat at the kind of restaurants that the Amex Platinum includes in the dining credit, and in that case it's just a genuine saving of £400, or you don't already eat at those kind of restaurants, and in that case it's just a chance to try something new. But again, whether or not you're actually going to consider that useful is down to your circumstances. Revolut Ultra, on the other hand, has taken quite a different approach where instead of giving you free money or sort of free money to spend at specific locations, Ultra comes with a bunch of subscriptions that you get for free to a bunch of services. And in a very similar way, the value you get out of these subscriptions is kind of down to which services you already use. For example, I personally already pay, out of this list, I pay for NordVPN and Uber One. So if I had Ultra and could stop paying for these services, that would have saved me £140 a year. But if you, for example, currently pay for a Financial Times subscription, then that perk alone, getting the Financial Times for free, that alone could justify the entire Revolut Ultra fee. Or maybe you pay for WeWork passes or a similar co-working space or fitness classes or something else that the Revolut Ultra subscription can save you money on. And finally, one last category I want to compare these cards on are the reward points that you get when you use these cards to actually purchase stuff. So with the Amex Platinum, you're going to get 1 membership reward point per every pound spent. And the membership reward points are obviously an amazing loyalty currency because they're very flexible. You can transfer these points to a bunch of airlines and hotels. And so, yeah, you get a lot of flexibility on how to use your rewards. But at the same time, the Platinum card only earns 1 point per pound spent. And that is extremely poor for such an expensive premium card. It does give you double of like 2 points per pound when you spend money on Amex travel website specifically. But to be honest, just this one category does not make things much better. Revolut Ultra, in the meantime, similarly earns you 1 Revolut point per every pound spent, and Revolut points are also a transferable currency. They do have less partners than Amex does in terms of like where you can transfer the points to, but they still offer some interesting redemptions, and I actually have a separate video about Revolut points that I'm gonna link down below in the description so that you can check it out later. But when it comes to generally reward points, both the Amex card and the Revolut card each has a unique advantage that I wish the other one also had. So let's start with the Revolut. So Revolut has a shopping portal, which is basically a long list of stores where you can shop using the Revolut card, and you're gonna get a lot more points than just 1 point per pound when you do so. So for example, there is 20x multiplier on Virgin Atlantic purchases, which means if you're booking a ticket with Virgin Atlantic and you will pay with your Revolut Ultra card, you are gonna get 20 points per pound, which is a lot. Or if you're looking for something more day-to-day, there is double points on Marks & Spencer and on Boots, and just recently there was like, I think there was 5x points on Amazon, which is super generous because Amazon is a very broad category because you can buy practically anything from Amazon. And this is a feature that I so wish that Amex also had in the UK, because if I remember correctly, they do have something like that in the US, but not over here. So again, if I did have to pick between Revolut, Ultra and Amex Platinum just based on earning points, I think I would have gone for Revolut Ultra. But speaking of Amex, the Platinum card also does have its own unique advantage that Revolut Ultra doesn't when it comes to earning points, and those are the very generous welcome bonuses that the Platinum card regularly offers. So basically, if you are a new customer to Amex Platinum who hasn't had any membership rewards earning credit card in the UK for the past 2 years, then you can currently get a welcome bonus of up to 100,000 membership reward points if you hit specific spending requirements in the first, I think, 3 months or 6 months with the card, which is, to be fair, is crazy generous. And when we compare it to the Revolut Ultra and their welcome bonuses that they offer of 10,000 points, which seems like nothing, but I also think that the welcome bonuses should be considered kind of separately because they're a one-off thing and they don't really impact the long-term value that you get out of the card if you want to use it for several years. Alright, we covered the key benefits of both cards, and are we now finally in a place where we can draw some conclusions? Well, one missing piece of the puzzle are the annual fees. Basically, the Amex Platinum is going to set you back £650 every year. And to be fair, this fee is refundable on a prorated basis. So for instance, if you use the card for 6 months and then you decide to cancel it, you are going to get half of that fee back. With the Revolut Ultra, it comes at a lower price point of £540, but on the downside, this fee is not refundable. So if you change your mind about the cards 6 months later, you are getting no refund. Alternatively, with Revolut Ultra, you can opt to pay for it monthly at £55 a month, and that way you also get the flexibility to cancel at any point. But 55 times 12 works out to £660, which is pretty much the same price point that the Amex Platinum has. So I would say that both Ultra and Platinum are priced equally. But the question is, are they actually worth paying these fees for? Well, let's start with the Revolut Ultra. I can see kind of 3 customer profiles that would be interested in Ultra. Firstly, it's someone who would get a lot of benefit from the subscriptions that come with Ultra, because like I said, for instance, if you already pay for the Financial Times, then getting Ultra will save you enough money to justify the annual fee on the Ultra card, and that way all the other benefits that it comes with, like the travel insurance and the lounge access and whatnot, would be just a free bonus. Secondly, a primarily solo traveler could also benefit from Ultra quite a lot thanks to the lounge access for one, the travel insurance, the free mobile data, free VPN, and so on. And then finally, if there is someone who doesn't particularly value the travel benefits that come from Ultra, maybe because they either are not interested in lounge access and travel insurance, or they already have it from some other source, like maybe they even already have the Platinum card, but they're still tempted by some of the Ultra benefits like the subscriptions or the banking benefits that Ultra actually has, which we haven't talked about, but Ultra, unlike Amex Platinum, is a current account and a card, so you get some additional benefits like free currency exchange and free stock trading and a few more bits and pieces. In that case, I guess what would make sense is to also look into Revolut Metal, because it costs like 3 times cheaper than Ultra. It doesn't have the lounge access, but it replicates a lot of the other Ultra benefits, like a lot of the subscriptions and pretty much all the same banking benefits. So I do really believe that Metal would make sense for someone who is interested in Ultra but is not drawn to it because of the lounge access specifically. And that is actually exactly my case, because I have the Amex Platinum and I also have status with BA, so I'm not really interested in getting another card with lounge access. But at the same time, I really needed the free currency exchange because I exchange quite a lot of currency from US dollar to GBP every month. So I did get out Metal, and the savings I get from the currency exchanges justify the fee that I pay for Metal, but then all the other stuff like subscriptions, like NordVPN, Uber One, and a few more are just a free bonus on top for me. So those were my thoughts on whether or not the Revolut Ultra is worth the money, but what about the Amex Platinum and its £650 price tag? Well, that card I've actually held for the past 3.5 years, and here's a video where I talk about which benefits I used and how much money exactly they saved me. So do check it out if you want a real life example of using the Platinum card. And in the meantime, thanks so much for watching today, and I hope to see you in the next video.